I'll kick us off for the first question for Secretary Telle. Many provisions provided in prior WRDAs have gone largely unimplemented. Section 1102 of WRDA 24 requires that your office develop and submit a plan to Congress on the implementation of not just WRDA 2024, but prior WRDAs. This plan must identify provisions that will require implementation guidance or appropriations. So my first question is, when can we expect the list of WRDA 2024 provisions to be finalized?
Senator Capito, thank you for the question, Chairman Capito. My office, and I know General Graham's, under his leadership of the Corps of Engineers, takes very seriously the work of this committee. I'm committed to following the provisions in WRDA, following the law. This committee has expressed frustration over the speed of implementation of the laws that you have enacted. And as you point out, Chairman Capito, we owe you a plan about how to get that done. Each of these provisions is different. I believe the number in the WRDA 2024 was approximately 180 plus provisions that we are working to implement. Some of them are straightforward and easy to implement. Some of them require implementation guidance, as you point out. And we have made determinations about which are straightforward enough to implement and which require implementation guidance. And I will just say that it would be helpful to work with you to identify provisions that we can address without triggering a large interagency process. If we can get the information to you that you need to do your job, we'll be happy to work with you on doing that.
So I'm asking if you have a date of when you would put your plan forward with all this implementation. My understanding is in 2024, we required you to submit to us a plan, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Do you have a date when you'll have that to us?
Senator, I'm not prepared to give you a specific date today. All I can tell you is that in the
Is that because it's 180 provisions and some are more complicated than others, or is it because, why is that?
Senator, at the heart of it is that the Article 2 branch of government is led by a chief executive, and many of the provisions included in WRDA 2024 implicate agencies and equities across the government. And in order to speak with one executive branch voice and give you an answer that's correct, it necessarily involves coordination with a myriad of agencies that complicates our ability to get you the information you need so that we can speak with one executive branch voice. And so, and given that provision implicates a number of provisions that implicate other agencies, it is complex for us to deliver to you something that you can count on that is right, but I'm committed to doing that.
Well, that's important, I think, obviously, for us to have it included in that WRDA 2024. That plan is important to us. General Graham, on the cost overrun issues, this is just a consistently huge issue. We included several provisions intended to provide the Corps with more time and resources to better study possible solutions, the needs that might be on the front end, and you sort of mentioned this. Our intent was for the agency to then spend less time reworking project plans after they have been authorized for construction. However, we do not want these provisions to be interpreted as a directive from Congress to the Corps to go back to the days when the agency spent years or decades studying a single project. What additional steps are being taken to address these cost overruns? You addressed this a little bit in your open statement, but if you could get a deeper dive on that.
Chairman Capito, and thank you for that question. Every time we don't deliver a project on schedule, I get an email from the district engineer who explains what happened, and then we have some very pointed discussions on what was the root cause. And a vast majority of the root causes are, we didn't know enough, as I spoke to in my opening statement, about the project before we asked you to authorize it. Probably a good way to visualize that is a lot of those authorizations were kind of at the conceptual 10% level. They weren't at the 35%. So basically, hey, we authorized a house, not a 4-bedroom house with a gas heater and 3 bedrooms. And that is what is tripping us up. Digging down into the details a little bit more, the main thing we missed is the field investigations. So we didn't get all the survey data that we need. So we didn't know this is a water resource business we're in, so that those elevations, those are kind of critical. And same thing goes with, well, what property is associated with those surveys? What does the soil look like that we're going to build upon? Kind of fundamental stuff. And we didn't do nearly enough of that. So we're working with Secretary Telle to come up with a common sense reason or explanation or work rationale for moving this forward.
Just, my time's running out here, but I would just ask, do you envision then going back on pending projects and redoing this? Or is this from going forward, this is the way you're going to do it on new projects?
So certainly going forward.
Right.
But for the projects that have been authorized, but we haven't built those yet.
Right.
The designs on those are still sitting probably around the 10% level. So it'd be
Yeah.
helpful to be able to open those up, take a look at those. And then when Congress and the administration are looking to fund those projects, I can give you a realistic cost estimate.
Okay, all right.